Well, hello, my chickadees. How's everybody going? All right. Yes, I am so not ready for this, but I am never ready. Okay, I am going to bring up cast node. Got to log in, get the TTS up and running. All right, while that is happening, I acknowledge the traditional owners of this land, the Whadjuk Noongar peoples. I pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and to Aboriginal elders and peoples from other communities who may be taking part in this live stream today. And on that subject, very sadly, I did not get to Belgrave Survival Day yesterday, which, if anybody went, please speak up in the chat. Tell me what it was like. It was good last year. It was really cool. So, I'm sure it went well again this year. I just was not there. Okay, so logging into cast nodes. Simon, your confidence in me is probably misplaced and undeserved and all of those things. I'm getting there. I was at like 1 minute to stream time and I realized I hadn't opened OBS, I hadn't opened Companion. My mic receiver was still plugged in on the charger and not on the the 8M. So okay, we are getting there. This one, open. Whew. All right, here we go. Good morning to Crispian. Oh, and I saw some comments. I'm going to catch up on chat in just a second. Amanda, good to see you back in the chat. I saw a message earlier that you'd been busy, so you hadn't been to a couple of streams. I hope work is going really well. And Simon, Kiko Farm is here. That is Vic, the VIP in the room at the moment for this particular project. John Whips is here. Hang on, I saw a message earlier from John saying that he would not be in the chat. What's up with that? Stephen George is here. Grant Maisel, Sharky, Paul Schultz, Henrik, Russell Rainey, Dave Paul Jones, Elix, and I think that's all the TTS has caught up with so far. Audio is good. That's good. That's good to know. Where are we? Okay, I'm going to do a quick scroll back in the chat. Oh, okay, no. John was posting that he's going to miss the stream tonight, but he'll be here for next week. That's all right. So it is our solemn duty to make this the most fun stream ever, so that John has has remorse about missing it. Oh yeah, so Amanda said, I've not been here in the chat the last few weeks due to work. So is that ambulance related work, doing paramedic stuff? Or is it like event work or paramedic stuff at events? Anyway, I hope that is going really well. Crispian said, Imi, you're struggling to get up. We had a huge day at the track yesterday, and then following on, Nerd Brag. Okay, so this is Crispian's Nerd Brag. Imi and I controlled the Ballarat Drag Racing Club Big Bucks shootout yesterday. She set up and ran the timing computer and managed all the data entry for all the competitors. Cool. Yeah. Congratulations, Imi, on achieving that. That's really cool. Simon says, damn it, got to go back to work tomorrow after a week off. What did you do on your week off? This is a
GBT.
That was loud. Okay, I've just turned the external thing down. What was that? Cheat GBT, said Henrik. Okay, so this is a question. This is a question that was posed to me by someone very recently, like within the last day or two, which is, what do you do in downtime? Or what would be recreational? And it's a hard question to answer, because normally what I would do that's recreational is the same things as I would do when it's not recreational. There is an awful lot of overlap. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, there are recreational things that I would want to do that are not work related. Definitely not work related. But the funny thing is, I try to figure out ways. Hang on, also, it is kind of cold here in Melbourne this morning, and yet I have the aircon running. That is because it is, yeah, I walked in here this morning and it was really humid. In fact, I don't believe it. What is it saying? Oh, 40%. The AQS is saying 40% humidity now in this front room. This is with the aircon running. So the aircon has been running for a little while, which will be progressively, drying it out, and it's at 40%. Oh, Amanda says, John, you have a minute. Of course. Of course.
At Henrik Ostrov said, are you buffering for me? You're lagging a bunch.
Yeah, I am buffering for you, Henrik. Just for you. I have a special buffer just for you.
Photo stream, check video.
Photo stream, check video. Oh, okay. What is going on? Maybe it's my computer. Okay. I don't know. Can you hear me okay though? If the audio is okay? Because I had some weird stuff going on with my computer a day or two ago where it was getting it was just running slow, opening windows and things. So please let me know if it sounds okay, because then I can keep talking to you at least, while I'm going to open up System Profiler, System Information, Gerald. Let's see, what is the load on this thing? Okay, Vic says, yes, audio is good. Yeah, okay. So, what is going on my computer? I have a very strong suspicion that this is my computer. What? Yeah, because I'm running the ATEM for the HDMI capture going into... the computer is reporting a load of 20.89. And it took like 10 seconds just to tell me the load. But what's happening is that then goes into OBS. So OBS is doing the encoding, and it's also doing some compositing. Solution, don't open Windows, yeah. It's also doing some compositing. So my computer is actually doing a fair bit of work in terms of... Yeah, thanks, Amanda. In terms of getting the stream up there. So I have an option, and I really do not like this option. I am going to see if, hang on, video is under 1 frame per second. Yeah, I think that what's happening is that OBS is struggling to do the encoding. Anyway, the option is restart my computer, which means that I would have to disconnect from the chat and then reconnect. Yeah, just looking at... Oh, I've gone blank. Where is the... I could just do... Let's see. Top. Let's see what top says is killing my computer. Kernel task is at the top of the list. OBS is right below it. But... Oh, Google Chrome. Where... Yeah, Chrome. Hang on, Windows Server. Windows Server? What is Windows Server? I do actually use... Let's see, the Windows app is not currently running. I have Windows app installed on my computer because I use it for remote desktop to the pick and place machines. Okay, I'm going to quit out of a bunch of things. Quit out of that. I I kind of want to call this early. If I'm going to restart my computer, I should do it like now, not mess around with things for too long. System information, quit out of that. Quit out of WhatsApp and quit out of Notion. Got all these things running.
Okay now.
Okay now? Really? Is it okay now? What's my system? Load average is down to 16. Actually, yeah, I can see in the YouTube preview it's not too bad. It's like the frame rate has gone back up. I want to try to avoid doing the whole computer restart thing. Dave says SSD drive past 3 years. Could be. Yeah, it has improved. All right. I think, yeah, thread worked. I'm going to restart your computer. Oh no, I will comply. Load average is now 15. The load average does seem to be falling slowly. Okay, now. Andy says that is Mac OS Windows, not Microsoft Windows. No, but I have the Microsoft Windows app on my Mac. It is really bizarre and really confusing, but there is a Mac app from Microsoft called Windows, and it's basically a remote desktop client for Windows to run on the Mac. Stephen says load average of 16 is still silly. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And it is buffering again. Yeah, Gerald says fast movement seems to cause problems. That aligns with the idea that it is the OBS encoding, because the encoding would be based on deltas between frames. Yeah, so if you run the Microsoft Windows app on your Mac, it allows you to essentially run Windows on your Mac, but the actual back end is like some other Windows installation. Ooh, okay, Amanda says, in all live stream jobs, I don't encode on the computer. I use an external stream encoder and don't run into this issue anymore. Amanda, tell me more. No, this really is not working out very well. So if you're all willing to hang around and check, hang on, I'm going to say hello to a couple more people. Gerald, Stephen, Gavin Jackson is here, Mark Laguda is here, Cassio, Andy is here too, and Dentistry's doing some good max headroom there. Yeah. Okay. Oh, can you do OBS restart? I could restart just OBS, but I don't think that is going to solve the problem. I do not think it is. I think the issue is there is something underlying going on my computer. Even lost audio for a bit. Okay, that's it. We're 16 minutes in. I am going to restart my computer.
Henrik Ostrov said, still problems.
Yeah, okay. Stay on this stream because I will reconnect to the same stream after my computer reboots. Okay. Chat will stay up, so have fun without me. Okay, it's possible that I'm back. I don't actually know right now. I'm pushing video, but I haven't actually logged back into everything. So I am, where are we? Got to get back into YouTube Studio and then get to the chat. Okay, back into the control room. And hello. Okay, I'm back. Hopefully not too stuttery. All right. Part of the delay there of me coming back was that I have Whew. How many? Okay, I've got, at a quick glance, about 50 browser windows open, 40 or 50. And each of those browser windows has between 1 and 10 tabs open. And many of those tabs are YouTube videos. And when I restart my computer, what happens is I get YouTube auto playing in maybe 10 windows simultaneously. So it is just hang on, I'm just going to hit play on this just because it's cool. All right, so this can be in the background. So yeah, I don't want to get copyright struck on this, but still, hang on. Let's get to a distinctive bit. For people who recognize this. Yeah, okay. Here it comes, that bit. This bit. Yeah, if you know, you know. So, where are we? I'm going to pause that. So what happens is that when my computer reboots, it is a cacophony of people doing presentations and like music and all sorts of stuff. So I have this job where I go through each of these windows. I click through the windows, find the playing tabs and pause them all. There's got to be a way to bulk pause or just to have YouTube not autoplay. I actually have autoplay turned off in the little checkbox thing. Andy says HHG TTG. No, it is TLOU. Yeah, the original TLOU. And if you don't know what that is, that's not going to help you. Yeah, YouTube's annoying habit of forcing auto playback. Now, hang on. Okay, where am I? So I've got Companion running. I still have to pop out the chat and switch to live chat. Why does YouTube always default to top chat instead of live chat? Okay, now, finally, I can get back into where I was. So, where I am is, oh, hang on, why hasn't Companion launched? Companion, it has launched. Why hasn't, oh, Stream Deck. Okay, Stream Deck. I need control over camera switching. Stream Deck. Open. Come on. Because I want to show you the Pika. Come on. Come on. Stream Deck. Okay. Stream Deck is opening. Stream Deck is closing. I still have no... Very annoying. All right, quit Companion, start Companion. And nope, it hasn't come back. Launch GUI. Are we there, Gavin? Are we there yet? No, Gavin, not yet. Hey, Gavin. Data connections. That is connected. That is connected. Why is Companion... Oh, Crispian says, not Journey of the Sorcerer, something else. No. No, I'm tempted to just not give it away. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Pete got it. Pete got it. Yes. So that was a fingerstyle guitar rendition of the main theme. Okay, I want to switch to that camera. How do I do this? How do I do this without my macros and things? I can do it manually with that. Okay, I'm going to quit out of that. I'm going to quit out of Stream Deck. Quit, yes. And then bring Companion back. Maybe that'll wake it up. Nope. Stream Deck is still dead. Okay, hit it with a hammer. Yeah, Pete. That's the ticket. Stream Deck. Okay, I'm gonna. As I'm launching things, I have such a rant about macOS's new launcher garbage, but I am going to restrain myself because this needs to be a family-friendly program. Rated G. No. Companion is broken. It is just not. And Stream Deck is broken. No, Stream Deck is running. Companion is broken. Okay. Here we go. Hang on. I do have to cough. All right, I'm going to do this manually. I'm going to throw to, which camera do I want? Camera 3. Okay, camera 3 we have. And this just came off the printer overnight. Look at this beautiful monstrosity. This is Vic's latest creation. And I will explain this a little bit in, well, how about right now? So, this is the core of the most recent RepRapMicron design, and it is it's called a PIKA, P-I-K-A, which I think is print in place kinetic assembly. Vic, is that correct? Yeah. So yeah, Stephen says there's a lot of flexures. Yeah, this entire thing. I haven't done any cleanup on this yet, so it's got like a couple of little nibbly bits that probably need to be cleaned up, and maybe in some slots where nuts are inserted and that sort of thing. This entire structure is printed as a single piece. This is one print in place assembly, and you can see that it's got a whole lot of flexures going in a whole lot of different directions, all interleaving so that they offset each other's dimensional distortion, so that this forms the main frame of the RepRapMicron, and then this is the platform that is used for the build surface. So the build assembly goes up on here. And what this allows, if we look at this little lever down the bottom, if you push this in and out, you can see that the platform moves in that axis. But you can also push the platform in this axis. So this is, it is an XY structure that keeps the dimensional accuracy between this top surface and the mounting plate that goes under here. So as the plate moves, these flexures keep it in that plane. Each set of flexures allows distortion in one plane or the other plane, but not in this one, in the Z-axis. And then it's got all of these mounting locations around it that are used for attaching the different axis drivers. And you can see there are some little slots in here where nuts are inserted and then bolts go through. So in this case, a bolt would come through from above and through the nut, and then there is clearance on the bottom for the end of the bolt to come through. So yeah, this is a crazy work of art. Vic, I am impressed. And this is a single file designed in OpenSCAD. So you just render it in OpenSCAD, export it as an STL, send it to the printer, and it even prints without supports. So this was printed without supports, and it just popped off the build plate looking like this. This is probably one of the more complex things I have ever seen created with a 3D printer in a single piece, for sure. All of these interlocking pieces that all do important parts of the job. I've got to be careful not to distort it too much because I don't want to damage any of these flexures. The total displacement on the build platform needs to be very small. I don't want to move it too far, and I don't want to stress the flexures, so I'm being moderately careful with this. Nice thing though, of course, is that if I do break it, I can just print another one. But I don't want to have to do it. It's a decent amount of filament. It took, I think it took about 8 hours to print. So it's not a quick and easy thing just to print another one. And it would be very annoying to go through the assembly process of attaching everything and then breaking this. So where do we go from here? Okay, I am going to put this aside for now. This is like crazy genius weirdness. Super impressive, and I just want to play with it and experiment with it. But there are some other things to do. I'm going to put this aside, and what I have here, I'm grabbing this bucket up and putting it in place. What I have here is 3 NEMA 17 steppers, and they have reasonably long shafts on them, but that's okay. We can account for that. Or should I say, Vic has already accounted for that. And then you can see green, yellow, and blue parts in here. Now, it kind of pains me to print this in multiple colors. I don't like the multicolor sort of thing where it looks like it's all hodgepodge. But I figure that this is, to show this on camera, I really need each axis to be printed differently. And so we've got, each color is one of the axis drivers. So X, Y, and Z axes. I probably should have been more careful when I put these parts in, because these parallelogram thingamajiggamies here, the spirograph structures, these are full of flexures, and they are moderately delicate, so I don't want to break those either. Once again, I could just print another one, but why break it in the first place? So my general idea is that the job for today is to start putting together these axis drivers and figure out how all of these parts fit together. And I am pretty confident that we are not going to get as far as actually mounting these onto the Pica, but yeah, we'll make some progress. So the other thing I need to do is start printing the mounting base. Now we've got the 3 axis drivers here. Another part that I do not have yet, oh well, I kind of do. I printed these. This is the adapter coupling that goes onto the motor shaft, and then there is threaded rod that comes out here. So this is how, oops, there'll need to be spaces in there, but for now I'm just going to stick this straight on. So if the stepper mounts into the bracket like that, the motor coupling goes onto the shaft, and then there is the actual drive shaft attached that way. So I'll pop that out for now. But these are a slightly outdated design, I think. And also, I want to reprint them because it's a little bit hard to see on camera. This is what I was talking about last week or week before. Because I printed these onto the smooth high temperature engineering build plate, and it suffered a little bit from elephant's foot. So it squashed down the first layer, which has caused it to spread out. So there's a little ridge all the way around the outside. That in itself is not a problem. I could just trim it off with a blade. But you can see the structure on the inside here is this little spiral structure. All of those also have that elephant's foot closing up the gap between those little parts of the structure. And I could go through with a scalpel and very carefully trim on the insides of all of these. But I think the simpler solution is they don't take long to print. They're only little things. I think the simpler solution is I'm just going to print more of these on the textured PEI plate, which is what I've used for all of these other parts, and the first layer result on those is good. So yeah, I'd rather not compromise it. I want to give this whole project the best chance of working, so I'm going to do it properly. So let's switch back to my ugly face and have a look at a couple of things. Okay, so Crispian says, how much do we price printer time by 8 hours? And Vic said it uses about 290 grams of filament. At the lab we charge New Zealand $45 to print it. Oh, this is a good point. Grant says, a question for Vic about the steppers. I see you used 400 step steppers. Is this necessary? My spares are 200 steps. And Vic replied, 200 step steppers will probably get you to a micron. That is a really good point. I need to look up the specs on these steppers because these I pulled out of my Mendel Max and I actually have no idea. It is so many years since I have done anything with these that I don't know if they are 200 or 400 step steppers. I have a feeling they may be 200, which means I may need to order different steppers because I probably don't have others around. I am going to, I'll bring this up on screen in a minute. They are Kisan 1124090 steppers. How do I do this? That and that. Hi, from behind the logo. Yeah, so this is the stepper. NEMA 17 stepper. It is, where are the steps? Where are the steps? Come on, tell me. Am I missing it? Am I missing it? Number of phase, step angle, 1.8 degrees. Yeah, so 1.8 degree step angle means that they are 200 steps. To get 400 steps out of a 360 degree rotation, you need 0.9 degree step angle. So I have 200 steppers. Okay. Yeah, 1.8 degrees equals 200 steps. Yes. They are. Okay. But for layers, you're probably like slightly better resolution. You can hit it though if you have really good micro-stepping drivers. Okay, so the summary is, just based on what Vic is saying now, is that 200 steppers, like I have, will probably get you to a micron. But for layers, you'd probably be slightly better resolutioning. Yeah, okay. So I think this is I think I need to order 400 steppers. Okay, I'm not going to let that stop me from putting things together today though. I'm going to give that a go. Oh, hang on. I wonder if, oh no, that's different. Stream Deck XL. Ooh, hang on. I'm just going to see if this works. I'm going to try a scene switch. Let's try this. Oh, hang on. Can I activate? Can I activate? Sorry, I'm slightly distracted because what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to get the move import. No, I don't want to edit it. I want to like a virtual interface. Can I do this? I don't want to configure it. I want to run it. Items, if I double click it, nope. Connected to companion. Connected? So why is my Stream Deck not showing? I want to be able to switch views because I'm going to be switching views a bit during this stream. And finding where that Stream Deck is plugged in, I have so many USB devices that finding where it's plugged in and unplugging it is pretty much impossible. Okay. Okay, and Vic says, for those playing along at home, if you have just one 400 step motor, put it on the Z axis. Okay, so for the 200 steppers, they're possibly okay on X and Y with good drivers, like with good micro stepping. But for the Z axis, you need the more precise control, finer resolution. So that's where the 400 stepper is critical. Alrighty. Now, hang on, my other Stream Deck stopped working. What? Come on. Don't do this to me. Computers suck. Computers were a mistake. Why isn't... Hang on, scan for USB devices, yes. So that is companion. Why isn't Stream Deck launching now? Stream Deck. Launch. Ah. Alright. Oh, and then it launches. Okay. Paul asked a very good question, which is, how difficult is it to change steppers after construction? Yeah, so just from the looks of it, the steppers end up pretty intimately connected into the structure, and you've got the coupling holding them in place. But I haven't actually got to the point of assembling them yet, so I'm just speaking on the basis of photos. Vic would be able to answer that question. What was I doing? What was I doing? Okay, going into... I need to open projects and RepRapMicron, which is here somewhere. Here we go, and then that. Okay, so this is Vic's repo right here. Mouse is what we want. Now there is the base. Where is the not the baseboard mounts? Companion, is it the baseboard mounts? Let's see what this looks like. Sees it, today is your day. Oh, I haven't actually opened TTS. I think. Cast note? Yeah, since restarting my computer, I don't think I'd opened Cast Note. Here we go. Okay, so that means now TTS should start to catch up. And we should be able to do this.
Today is not your day.
Today is not my day? Every day is my day. Every day it's coming up, Millhouse. What are we looking at? Okay, so open... One thing that is frustrating about OpenSCAD, stop that, is if you try to, check this out. I'm going to quit out of OpenSCAD. This is probably just a Mac OS weirdness, but anyway, it's annoying. Why can't I quit? Quit out of OpenSCAD. Okay, this is an OpenSCAD file, and if I double click it, it opens OpenSCAD, but it does not open the file. It throws you to the general thing. So then you have to go and find the file through the file system. I'm really trying not to fall into the grumpy old man shouts at computer type type mindset. Nope, that is not. Ooh, Amanda has just sent me info about the external encoder that she uses. Thanks, Amanda. I'm going to check that out later. Now, what I'm actually looking for is so those are mounts. What I want is the baseboard. So that's baseboard mounts, complementary mouse picker, mouse probe, stage deprecated. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong place. Vic is probably shouting in the chat right now, telling me where it is. Chris Ben says, plot twist, TTS was causing the slowdowns. Geeko Farm said, what are you looking for? Okay, what I'm looking for... so the baseboard off the ground so you can hide the electronics underneath. Okay, I thought there was... previously there was a laser cut base, which you had out of acrylic with a whole lot of holes in it. And that has now gone away, I believe. Or there is a new version that needs to be printed. So, is that replaced by this? Is this the equivalent? Oh, Pika's base is in the mouse Pika. Oh. Pika's base is in the mouse Pika SCAD file. Okay, let's try that. It's commented out at the bottom. Ah, okay, got it. Cool. So then, if I, come on, why wouldn't it open? Mouse Pika. Oh yeah, this is it. I opened it previously. Open. Commented out at the bottom. So if I, hang on, I'm going to zoom that out so that we can see it. Down here, Pika base, I will uncomment that and then comment out complete Pika, I guess. Let's find out. And render. Let's see what happens. Is that done? No, maybe you need complete Pika as well. Pika base. Ba-ding! Okay, so that's what we need to print. I think it might be. So let's export the STL for that and send this to the printer. 3D printing, X1C, RepRapMicron, mouse Pika. I'm just going to call it mouse Pika base so that it's distinct. And Bamboo Studio. Here we go. I'm going to send this to the printer so that it can be doing that while I get on with other things. Now, prepare, and I want to go to, no, that, okay, and then I'm going to change it to, change it to the same color as I did the Pika itself. What have we got here? I don't think any of the settings really matter. I'm just going to leave it on standard. There are no flexures involved in this, so 3 layers on the bottom is fine. 15% infill should be fine. Slicey and dicey. And, oh, hang on. Did I have an extra option turned on? Slice okay. I just wanted to turn off. Oh, it doesn't matter. The preview here shows the flow calibration being done, but I don't think it actually needs it to be done. Time-lapse, flow, dynamics, auto leveling, everything off. Send it to the printer. Go. 1 hour and 14 minutes. That's a pretty long print. It's surprisingly long for something that's only 27 grams of filament. Why is it 1 hour and 14 minutes? It's a little odd. Yes. Okay, so Vic said the little angled bits and strip are basically feet to hide the nuts in so that they don't scrape the table too bad. Okay. Using a 0.2 nozzle. Oh no, it's not a 0.2 nozzle, it's a 0.4 nozzle, but 0.2 layer height. I think that should be the case. So we've got, yeah, layer height is 0.2, minimum initial layer height 0.2, but the actual nozzle is a 0.4. Others, I'm not even sure where it's set in here. Advanced, nope, don't know. Yeah, 0.2 is the layer height. So it'll be taking a little while. It's got to get up to temperature, and then we can see what's going on with that. Oop, there it goes. Oh, and look at that. There are some googly eyes on it now. Googly eyes have been applied. It was Pete who got me to do that on Friday because, yeah, I've been saying I need to put googly eyes on the printer for a while, and Pete came to visit. Oh, okay. Vic says, when I know where all the holes should be, I'll fill the rest in. Yeah, so a fair bit of the print time would be the features like doing the perimeters of the holes. And if you can eliminate those features, it'll print more quickly. But for now, it's fine. Okay, let's
And
move
Imi
that.
isn't here to see them.
Imi isn't here to see them. No. Hang on. I'm going to bring this up. Quick, take a screenshot. These are Imi's googly eyes. What's actually disappointing is that the field of view of the camera in the printer does not show the top part of the extruder when it's printing. Like if this is over in the middle of the bed, the eyes are off the top of the screen and you can't see them. I think it'd be funny to see the eyes jiggling around as it's printing, because the printer moves so fast that they would jiggle for sure. Jiggle, 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 yeah. So, what am I doing? What am I doing? Okay, so we've done that. We've sent this to the Printermatic, and I'm going to quit out of that. Don't save. Close that ski. Then what am I doing? Okay, I'm going to RepRapMicron. Not my fork of it. I want to go to the original. RepRapMicron. Vic. Let's find this. You want to create a print that maximizes the eye roll. Oh, that joke made me eye roll. Actually, no, it didn't. It made me laugh. Put the eyes on the bottom and then it prints upside down. Yeah, I want to put a smiley face across it. Hang on, if I get it back up on screen before it starts moving. See, it's got eyes here. This looks like a nose. This is the fan, like the top of the fan. And I want to put a mouth across the bottom of the grey bit, like a smiley mouth under there. This could be its mouth. Imi, quick, have a look. Googly eyes. This could be its mouth, like if it's doing a shocked face. So this could be a shocked face, or that could be a button nose with a mouth under it. I think either works. Yeah, so... Vic says, I was going to add an embossed squirrel just for you. Yeah. What am I doing? Okay, I'm looking for this because I want to have a look at assembly. Access control, print head, summary. All right. Mouse C build process instructions. Is this upper to a data? So the V3, V4 upgrade. There is no documentation for V5 as yet. Yeah, David says, no, that looks like a giant open mouth of, oh my God, what are you printing? Yeah. Henry
It doesn't
says,
need a nose plastic smelling bad.
yeah. Maybe. Yeah, that's one of the reasons that it's in there. Instead of, so you can see the, the Prusa printer right there. You can't really see it because it's behind the UP, the SUP of the Super. But, yeah, there is a little bit of, there are some fumes that come off it. When the printers are running many, many hours every day, the cumulative fumes start to become a little bit annoying, which is why I relocated the X1C to the back of the cleanish room, so that it's way down there where ventilation can take care of it. And I don't have to...
Imi says they look awesome.
Haha, thanks, Imi. Yes, where? I don't have to do... yeah, okay, so... screwdriver, pliers, needle nose pliers, small wire cutters, sharp scissors, blunt electric drill, 3mm bit, that's for drilling out the nuts. Medium flat file, I have that. Fine awl, with long pointy tool with blunt edges, yep. Lighter or similar heat source, I have a heat gun, that should do. Masking tape thread lock, I have that. Super glue, I have. Magnification, I would definitely find useful. I use that for everything these days. And this, I need another one. I am really tempted to go and hit boil on the kettle, in fact. I haven't used this for so long, but I do have, or I did have, the app on my phone. Oh, it hasn't been used for so long that it's auto unloaded the app. I've got to reinstall the app. This had better not make me authenticate again. That would be annoying, and I wouldn't bother. Okay. Now, the question is, where is the... not familiar with OpenSCAD. What does no top-level geometry to render mean? I closed it, OpenSCAD. If I open this, I think it's just because I had stuff turned off. Hang on. Oh, I select that and click open and it doesn't open. The user interface is frustrating. All right. Now, yeah, I am not at all familiar with OpenSCAD. Like, I've used it to the extent that I've pulled other people's projects in and then generated STLs from them, but I really don't. I am very, very far from having any idea how to drive this. So my understanding of it is that it is a fully parametric and code-based modeling tool. So what we are seeing here in the left, so this window here, check this out. This is actually what is creating, all of this code is what is creating the structure on the right. And so you've got variables like flexure thickness of 0.8, width of 5 millimeters, flexure length 4, etc. All of these sorts of parameters that are then used further down. Dimensions. This is all configs, basically config at the start. And then there are these things like these modules. So we've got staggered flexure pair, and it's got translate commands in there. So it's got coordinates, translate, and then yeah, all of these things. So this is a way of defining geometry using code. And then because all of these variables are derived from values up here, what it means is that if you want to change something like you want to tune the thickness of the flexures, you change a variable up here, and then the geometry that is derived from it is down here. And so it's a process that is very much like compiling code, starting from the top and running down. And it's got all of these things defined, and then you execute particular routines in here. So with complete picker enabled, this is what comes out. And there's this, where is it? This one, preview. So if you click on preview, you can see that it is processing all of that code and generating this view. And if you click on this one, I think it is, render, yeah, so this goes through and executes all of this code to generate the model from the code. So when you look at an SCAD file, it is just text, I believe. Let's find out. Nah, that's not. Rendering polygon mesh. Yeah, so it took a while to process, but essentially that was compiling a physical object from the code definition. And then, yeah, you can make changes and then you recompile and then you get the updated version of the object. And then from there you can export to STL or, yeah, do what you want to do with it. So it's pretty cool. It's very different to modeling in other types of systems. Allow, log in. Let's see if it remembers. Maybe it will. All of this, all of what I'm doing on my phone right now, is to avoid standing up and walking over to the kettle to turn it on. Oh, I don't care about your updates. continue. Okay. Kogan Smart Kettle. Let's, where is it? iPhone mirroring, phone in use. Okay, I'm going to do that. And now I should be able to go Kogan Smart Kettle on. There. Now I can boil the kettle. Wonder if it's going to give me some info. Power is on. Temperature. Yeah, you can probably hear it now. Kettle is boiling because I remoted to my phone from my desktop, which talked to their cloud service in China, presumably, which talked back to my kettle, which is 3.8 meters away from me. Very, very, yeah. Milgarado says, I hope you remember to leave water in it. Yes. Oh yeah, there is water in it. I can see it from here. Resultant print, scans might not be able to see it. Yeah, okay. So, the question is, this is a question that I should have answered before the stream. Where should I grab the...
Imi says, can you turn my kettle on, John?
Sorry, Imi, I can't. Not from here. Not unless you can give me remote permission. The misappliance of technology, yeah. Andy says, OpenSCAD is awesome, but obviously not as popular as graphical tools. Perhaps with AI coding assistance, the programming grind of using OpenSCAD will be eliminated, making it more popular. Yes. Code, but yes. So, I find it really interesting that... I'm pausing because this is a rabbit that I could chase that would take me way off topic. So I'm going to have a very shallow mention of this, which is that it's the move towards things like markdown files and just text files for documentation and other purposes, because they are so easy for LLMs to work with. Things like if you have your documentation in some kind of a more proprietary format, like inside, say your documentation is pages in Microsoft Teams or something, the LLM may not have access to it. But if it's text files sitting on your disk or in a repo, LLMs can read those. So we've seen a move towards Markdown. Henrik!
Super chat, where you at? Let the party go. Lights up, we'll clap in this awesome show.
Henrik, what is that face? yeah, that is a weird face, but thanks for the super chat. Geeko, Vic says, ChatGPT sucks at OpenSCAD. That's interesting. So it is really good at generating Verilog, so doing things like FPGAs. So esoteric things that have text files as their low-level format, AI is generally really good at dealing with. So, yeah, it's like this weird resurgence where the text-based history that we have moved away from is given new life.
If your documentation is pages in MS Teams, real people are able to reliably read them.
Yeah. I was just using that as an example of some way that information can be locked up in some kind of a proprietary format and not so accessible to AI. Anyway, I'm not going to dive down that rabbit hole too much. Now, where was I? That's right. I'm going to get back out of this. We don't need this. I want to start actually bolting some stuff together. Let's figure out how to do that. Hang on, I've got to cough properly again. Okay. And the radio voice is back for about 3 seconds. Sorry, I am losing the plot again. So, V4 upgrade section. Now, is there a... Oh, okay, so this is the old flexure table construction, which I've printed. Those parts are back there behind me, but I don't think these are relevant anymore because it has all been replaced by the big fancy picker. So, we can ignore all of this. This, I believe, is the system that Vic had demonstrated at Everything Open, which is also really cool, but that does not help for my assembly of the new XYZ stages. David says, "Oh, were you just flexing that you could boil the water without getting up?" No, yeah, you just boiled the kettle, go get your drink. I am trying to decide whether I'm going to make it to 12 o'clock without anything more to drink. I'm going to try. So, let's start having a look at how these axes go together. Now, where do... okay, a direct question for Vic. Is there... yes, there is. Okay. Mouse-L, V05. It's a RepRap design using flexures that give the axis drivers linear, the L in Mouse-L, movement on all axes rather than relying on pivoting flexure joints that approximate linear movement over short arcs. Amanda said, "Is it time for coffee cam?" I think it is. Henrik with the super chat again. Thank you, Henrik.
Super chat, where you at?
So,
Let the party grow. Lights up, feel clap in this awesome show.
okay.
At Amanda_RFT said, "Is it time for coffee cam?"
I think it's time for coffee consumption. It's a similar as pantograph. Yeah, so these photos are based on the V0.4 pre-picker, and look right, John. Look right. Where? Up here? Mouse XY flexure table construction. Is this what you're talking about? I think I've already found it. Right side of the page, mouse axis driver construction. Mouse axis driver construction. Oh, there. Yeah, cool. So that right there. Axis driver. Nice. Nice. Hang on, I've printed, mine almost looks like that. I've got one printed in that blue, almost that blue. So 3 of these completed assemblies are needed, and they are identical. Apart from one, which it has a slightly shorter mounting thing on here. It's got 2 columns of holes instead of 3. But apart from that, they are identical. Part preparation. Okay. Okay, 3 fasteners need to be prepared. These are the most complex machining operations in the assembly process. Also some wiring. Select the most pristine M3 by 50mm screws available. What do I have here? Interesting. Okay. Something that I have done, I'm going to switch back to. Here is, for the sake of this exercise, behold, the collection of M3 screws. I have this in, so in here I have drawers of M3 nuts and screws in every increment and in different head types. For example, just grabbing one out here, M3 by 12mm, And I've got it in socket head, countersunk socket head, and like a plastic rounded screw head, and yeah, similar thing. So in pretty much all of the lengths, I have socket head, Phillips head. So yeah, that's my master collection of screws and things. Now there is what I have here are, I have some M3 by 50 millimeter socket head. However, the thread on these, unless I have others, no, these particular ones, the thread is only on the first half. It goes down to there, and then it's just a shaft on the last part. So I don't know if those are going to be suitable. They may not be. I'm going to chuck those under the camera in a minute. Now, what I'm going to try to do is do this slightly out of order. That goes there. Okay. Motor with coupling, putting all of those together, because I can do the rest of this without that. Okay, I'm going to defer, excuse me, I'm going to defer the tap more thread, says Crispian. I'm going to defer the drilling out the nuts and things because I don't think that is required initially, preparing limit switch wires, to put the plastic together. Sorry, you can't see what I'm saying, which is this. I forgot that I hadn't changed views. This part, it should be possible to do a little bit later in the process. Do it slightly out of order. Now, let's have a look at this. All right, I'm going to get all the parts up on the bench, and then I'm going to go through and do these various things. Do the things. Oh, interesting. There's like a removing built-in support from nut bars and top frame. Yes, okay, so there's a little bit of preparation to do. What I'm going to do, switch to overhead view. Oh yeah, these are the M50 bolt. Oh, sorry, M3 50 millimeter bolts that I've got, and they are actually pretty decent quality. These are nice ones, but the thread is just from there to there, and then it's just plain shaft from there to there. So possibly not suitable, depending on. Yeah, less yapping, more tapping. Let's throw some of these things up on here. So I'm going to get all the parts out for the blue axis. And use this as my whatever, first thing. Whoop. Whoa. Okay, putting that aside, the funky thing. We've got the spacer plates here, we've got the NEMA 17 mount here, and there needs to be a little bit of cleanup in some of these holes because nuts need to go into these spots. What else do we need? Where else needs cleanup? That looks good. That needs a little bit of cleanup. Little bit. Okay. I'm just going to get on with it. So, talk amongst yourselves. No, talk to me. Come on, use the TTS. Take advantage of the fact that I'm away from my computer right now. I can't actually see the chat properly. So if you want my attention, you're going to have to TTS it. Yeah, this is not the most exciting part of the process, but a bit of cleanup now, hopefully, will make things easier when I'm putting it all together. John is AFK. Yes. Let's get nuts like squirrels, says Henrik. Buy yourself a proper deburring knife. Yeah, I should.
Amanda_RFT said, John is AFK.
I am AFK. I'm not AFK as often as I should be. I am far too often AK. And a lot of life happens when you're AFK. The more interesting, fun parts of life happen when you're AFK. So, I need to spend less time AK. Yeah, a proper deburring knife. I don't have a proper deburring knife. I've got a few sort of semi-interesting tools, but probably not as many like finishing tools as I really should have to be messing around with 3D printing to the extent that I do. And I do, like I do a lot of 3D printing. I go through many reels of filament. I've got, how many have I got there at the moment? I've got probably 15 reels right now, just sitting there, maybe more, maybe 20. And it's fairly common for me to have to order.
Say TTS doesn't work for David, he said MOT worthy.
Hang on, I've got to turn the volume up a bit too. Might be your handle tripping the bad word. He's not worthy. What did... Gigo Farm says, the holes John is cleaning are larger and octagonal. They hold a screw head rather than a nut. A screw head. Okay. Okay, so there's some explanation going on there in the chat. Drip, drip. A screw head rather than a nut. Okay. Settling into doing some cleanup. Yeah, I should get myself one of those little deburring things that's got a handle with a thing that comes out like shaped like that, and it's on a spinner. So you put it into a hole and go, and it cuts out the edges on the inside. So yeah, I've used those before. I know people who have them, and they are very cool for cleaning out things like little edges of round shapes. They work very well in. For example, with this, if I wanted to clean out burrs on this edge, it'd be perfect. You'd put it in and just go whoosh, and it would all be neatly cleaned up. But I don't have one. I should order one. So many tools that I want to get. Okay. I am, as you can tell, I am having trouble talking. I find it really disconcerting to be isolated from the chat. Right now, I am doing this and looking at it.
I've sent you all together 3, so you can buy the knife now from AliExpress.
Yeah, thanks, Henrik. All the super chats can be supporting my tool addiction. So I think Henrik has maybe paid for a cleanup tool. Come on. Yeah, I find it very disconcerting being on stream and being away from the chat, where it feels weird because I'm sitting here at my bench, I'm doing something, like an actual physical thing, and I'm just talking. It feels like I am talking to myself because I don't see the visual feedback from the chat. And it's amazing how much that closes the loop and makes it seem like I'm talking to other people instead of just talking to myself.
Not a nicotine or electricity addiction.
A nicotine or what? Electricity addiction? What's what's with an electricity addiction? Feel the power. Got to get more of that power. Ooh, go 3-phase. Yeah. Get some 3-phase.
When you're not away from the chat, you regularly ignore it.
Yeah, that is true. When I am away from the chat, I do. When I'm not away from the chat, I do regularly ignore it. So being away from the chat is not the entire excuse. It is just
At
the.
Austin's_creations said, just open YouTube chat on your mobile.
Yeah, good point. I could do that. I need a little tablet or something that's sitting over here on the bench. In fact, if I look up and reach up, oh, there's one. Haha. Let's see. Where's power?
I would love 4-phase though.
4-phase? Yeah. I forget that this tablet is even here. This was Chris's tablet originally. This was attached to his wheelchair. And Nick bought a Samsung Galaxy phone. Chris bought a Samsung Galaxy tablet because he thought the big screen would be handy attached to his wheelchair for reading books and that sort of thing. And he ended up just not liking it. He, how much battery does this have? 42%. This has been sitting up on the shelf above my bench for, it'd be months since I turned this on. And it's still sitting there, 42% battery. Okay, swipe screen up to unlock. I'm taking this off camera right now. Okay, swipe screen to
No
unlock.
reaction to Amanda's super chat. Did you really miss it?
Oh, hang on. Amanda super chat. Where was this? Amanda, $5 for a deburring tool fund. Thank you. Yeah, I think
It's an
that
heirloom.
it's an heirloom. Yeah, this is an heirloom tablet. So YouTube. I don't even know what account this is logged into or anything at the moment. I'm about to find out. Oh, and the reason that it's got this black tape around the edge is that it's a white-bodied tablet, and I was using this for a while in a teleprompter, and this was to stop the reflections in the teleprompter window so that it wouldn't show up on camera. Back when I was actually like a proper YouTuber, a fair income YouTuber making videos, not like now. I can't call myself a YouTuber anymore. I'm just someone who uses YouTube to have chats to people. Hang on, what is going on with this tablet? Has it locked itself? Or was it lying about its battery state and now it's gone flat? I don't know what it's doing. I should plug it into in fact I'm going to. What do I need? Micro USB. I'm going to plug it into micro USB and let it get some charge on. What was I saying? That's right. So Chris got this tablet and attached it to his wheelchair, and it was just so, it was large and awkward, and so he didn't like it. And later, after Nick died, Nick's Samsung phone became available, and so Chris got rid of this, like took it off his chair and replaced it with the Samsung phone. YouTube, come on, open, switch to YouTube. Oh, this version of YouTube is out of date. Look at this, and no updates are available for your device. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this the hard way. This is a very, very out of date device. In fact, I wonder if, oh yeah, got it. Okay, I wonder if this even, oh come on, give me a keyboard. Okay, if this browser is even going to work. YouTube.com, go. Here I am doing something silly when I should be working on this. It's taking a while to load. All right, I'm just going to let that tablet sit there for a little while, do its thing, and deburr these, and then I'm going to start bolting some stuff together. And then. Yeah, so at some point, I don't even know how, I ended up with Chris's tablet, and I think it might have just been a case of he wasn't using it anymore, so he lent it to me for being a teleprompter, and I still have it somehow.
Squirrel, 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 squirrel.
Yep, you got it. Squirrel time. Okay, I think I've cleaned up all of the parts now. Let's see what we need to do with attaching all of the thingamajiggamies together. So, I am going to, what does it say to do? Spacers, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I'm just back over at the screen at the moment. Clearing nut cavities and installing nuts. Each captive nut cavity has a built-in support which will need to be picked out with a pointed tool before the nuts can be installed. M3 nuts. Okay, so M3 nuts. Here we go. So this is this thing has these captive nuts, and then these spacers go here. And the motor goes in like this. So what happens is that we will end up with bolts that go through from the top side through the spacers into the motor, but we also would need to allow for bolts going in here and gripping on nuts in here. So we will end up, once these are together, we will have nuts that are captive in between those layers of the spacers and the main mount. So I need to insert some nuts in there. I've got a few different sizes of nuts in here, and these M3 nuts actually vary in their body. These ones are like a stainless steel sort of finish, are physically larger, and I'm not sure if they will even fit. No, they won't. There are some others here. These are some black-bodied ones which are fairly small. There are some here that have a matte sort of finish on them, and I think I want to use those ones. Boop. Got away. Oh, what am I doing? Got away again. So I think these are the ones that I want to try to force into these holes. I feel like I need a hammer at this point. A little tippy-tappy hammer. What can I use as a tippy-tappy hammer? Okay. Hang on, I'm going to just making sure the volume is off, and I'm going to open my own stream so that I can see the chat. Where is the chat? Where is the yes, I'm looking at myself. Here we go. My own stream. Now where is the chat on this interface? I want to see the chat. No, I can't do it. I can't see the chat.
At
Annoying.
Tinker001
Okay.
said, thread the nut onto a spare bolt to hold it while tapping it into place.
Ah, yeah, that's a good idea. That is actually a really good way to do it. It puts the strain on the thread instead of on the body, but still, it's possibly better. Why doesn't the home button work on this? Okay, I'm going to give up on that tablet just for now. That's something for another day. Yeah, so if I grab, I'm just going to get something like one of these. Oh no, I'm going to get a longer one. It's actually a good idea doing this with a long bolt because it allows you to get the alignment better. Now, if I put the bolt, and I'm going to thread it partly onto this, and then put it on here, and then tippy-tappy this down with a hammer, because this is a long bolt, it means that it's easy to get the vertical alignment correct. You can see that if it's slightly off, the nut could go in twisted, but the longer it is, the easier it is to get accurate vertical alignment. I am going to take a little walk out and grab a tippy-tappy hammer. I'm going to try not to get one that is ludicrously... Oh, there's one that is just like a normal hammer. I'm going to try to avoid grabbing a ludicrously oversized mash hammer, which I do have just out there. I'm going to use this, just a regular size thing that you would, that you would use for building a house. Building a house. Yeah.
Better to just add another screen and mouse to the computer and put them over where you're working.
Yeah, that's true. I could just double it up. Now, what I'm doing here deliberately is you can see that I'm putting the nut further up the bolt, and the reason, instead of just having it at the end...
Creations said the trick is to look for jeweler's tools.
Look, jeweler's tools, yeah. Oh, no, the trick is to look for discarded medical tools, like dentist's tools. Dentists have great tools. Yeah, so the reason for that is that having the extra thread, that is going down inside the hole, and it is forcing alignment with the hole, so it can't end up going in at an angle. It has to go in straight. So I'm just going to tippy tap these in. Yes, so whoever it was that suggested using the nut, using a bolt to put these in, a sacrificial bolt, thank you. Was it Austin? I can't remember. Someone said it in the chat a minute ago. What? Okay. You need a fret hammer, says Gerald. Yeah, a little, yeah. There are many, many different types of hammer. Yes, jewelers do have interesting hammers. They have ones that are like they're just a cylinder coming out, and then like a flattened part at the back, and all sorts of different types. So get the hammer out of the way. Where are we going next?
The Toolman Oxide.
The Toolman. I like tools. Now, where am I going next? Clearing out cavities. I'm going to switch back to this view, just so you can see what I'm looking at. Yeah, so what I have done is this stage here. You can see the nuts are now inside these little recesses.
At Austin's_creations said they also have really nice files, sanders.
Files and sanders, yeah. Geeko Farm says, I did put the user screw thing in the instructions. Maybe need to put everything in bold. Yeah, that's because I am not reading. I'm just looking at number of spaces necessary to print. I'm just looking for the screws. Shown in the above image. Okay. So, done that. Haven't done this. Now, this is where, I should have started printing these so I could put them onto the motor shafts. Or do I just use the ones that I've already printed? Ooh, debate time, debate time. Because what I could do is this. I could squeeze the existing ones that I've made. I think I will, because I've already printed them. And Simon says, yeah, and 36 point for John. Yes. I really need these instructions sort of smacked upside the head. Now, for now, these steppers, oops,
At Austin's_creations.
these steppers,
You have a bamboo. Let the thing rip.
let the thing rip. Yeah, but the problem is that it is currently ripping. Right now, it is ripping on this. This is what my bamboo is doing at this very moment. So it's got 32 minutes to go. It's going to finish at 12:08, which by my calculations is approximately half a cup of coffee after finish time of the stream. So, yeah. Let's see what else I can do. Do I, don't I? I am kind of inclined to attach the parts, but I also want to get the colors matching. I don't want it, I've printed 3 of them in yellow. All right, coming back to here. What I have is, when I was printing the previous version of the hardware, I printed these. So these are the 3 axis couplings, and they are all in yellow. Now one of these axes is yellow. Maybe I should assemble this one.
8 minutes into bodge time.
8 minutes into bodge time. In fact, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put this aside and grab this and tippy tap some nuts into this one. I just clean these up a little bit. Doesn't need that much cleanup. Am I on the right camera? Yes, I am. Good. Clean these up and yeah, and then I'm going to attach the coupling to this motor. Now, I know that I am going to have to do something about the motors. I will order some 400 steppers, some 0.9 degree steppers. But for now, I'm going to assemble this with the 200 steppers that I have and swap them out. I fully expect that this project is going to involve teardowns and rebuilds and those sorts of things over the course of it, and hopefully it won't be too much of a pain. So I will put the steppers that I have in place as a way of initially testing this, and I'm not going to get the resolution that I need, but that can come a little bit down the track.
Careful, temporary often become permanent.
Yeah, that's true. Temporary does often become permanent. But in the case of the steppers, I do want to have the right ones on there, so I can't just leave them in place. Okay, here we go. Now what I need is a clamp to attach that onto there. And I am sure that I have that. I will just need to grab one from out of the factory. So what I'll do is switch you to the live view of the printer, just to give the video encoding algorithm something to crunch on. I need to give it some work, so a rapidly moving frame is ideal for that. Now, where are the clamps? There were some there, but they are no longer there. Ah, here we go. Here is, this one will probably work. It's in kind of crappy condition, but it is the first one that I managed to find. Oh, what about this one? Okay, I've got a couple of options. Here we go. There are dozens of these of different types around the factory, but we'll give these a shot. Back to here. So I've got this, I've got this. I'm going to try this little one first. So what I want to do is squeeze that onto there. Squeeze. So, got to get that on the shaft. Maybe I should drill this out first. What is the recommended best practice here? If I check, this motor shaft should be 5 millimeters, 5.00. And this, whoops, is 4.6-ish. Should this be drilled out? I mean, this isn't, you always end up under-reading with this sort of thing. When you're using calipers into a hole, they will inevitably under-read, but still, that is, yeah, tight. So, I could drill it out and use something to attach it, like Loctite. You'll probably smash them when squishing in the vise anyway. Oh, okay.
At RelWareTep said, 18 minutes.
And Grant said, use the ones you've already printed since you'll probably replace the steppers. Yep. Ooh, that was a PCB falling off the wall. Why, you might ask, do I have a PCB on the wall? Okay, I have many PCBs on the wall. That nobody question it. Everybody just ignore that that happened and back away slowly. So, this point, yeah, stuff it. I'm just gonna, ream the first millimeter or two with a 6mm drill bit. Okay, I'm actually going to, Vic, I'm going to read your instructions. Here we go. Okay. Drive the bottom flat with maze-like patterning end of the conical onto the NEMA motor.
People don't have PCBs on their walls.
Yeah, I know, it's surprising. Doesn't everybody have PCBs on their walls? Until the shaft contacts the flat shelf inside of the couplings cavity. This is recessed approximately 7mm. You may find it convenient to mark this off on the shaft. That is an excellent idea. If the print suffers from elephant foot, ream the first millimeter or two with a 6mm drill bit, except that in my case it's 5mm. Gentle squeezing pressure, or a more percussive approach. I'm going to go for the squeezing pressure. Rotate the coupling and by eye ensure it's correctly centered on the shaft. And push down to ensure, etc. Okay, so the shaft on my steppers is 5mm, not 6mm. So, oops, back up to here. So it says ream the first millimeter or two with a 6mm drill bit.
I have a complete computer attached to a wall in the workshop using a single 1/2 by 12 lag screw.
Tinker, you are living dangerously. Oh, comment from Cable Tie incoming. And Pete.
Super chat, where you at? Let the party glow. Lights up, feel club in this awesome show.
And Cable T said, PCBs on the wall same as having moose heads on your wall.
Yes,
At
that's right.
_Schultz said, does the coupling go through the mounting hole check?
Yes, this coupling is designed to go through this mounting hole. So we can put it on the motor and then fit the motor and the coupling will go through. It's a very nice fit. So just in case my memory is totally wrong, let's check this again. 5. Yeah, so I'm going to grab a 5mm drill bit and just clean up the inside. In fact, do I even need to do that? I'm going to do this the crude way. Let's see how this goes. A little bit of carving.
And Tinker001 said, nah, silly computer lived dangerously, then paid for its faults.
The computer paid for its faults. Are you blaming an inanimate object for its... The faults of a computer are the faults of its creator. What am I looking for? The clamp. Where did I put the clamp? Over there. Okay. Let's try this. Let's see how... one thing about these things to keep in mind, if you haven't used these before, is these jaws are not parallel. It would be really nice. There are many times that I have wished these had parallel jaws, and in fact I've considered 3D printing a fitting, because you can typically like slide the rubber pads off these. This is the hard plastic, and then they have the rubber pad over the top. I have considered 3D printing an adapter that slides into here that corrects the angle so that these two are directly parallel. Now there is a good reason they are not parallel in an application where you are using these for clamping timber. Henrik! Henrik! Thank you for the hot dog, Henrik. And Pete, thank you for the hammer, the hammer fund. Hammer time. Yeah, anyway, there is a good reason. When you're clamping timber, having these slightly angled in this way has an effect, like as the clamping force comes on, these deflect out, and etc. But in this case, where I'm not actually wanting to apply a large amount of force, I'm wanting to just apply a bit of force, having them not parallel is annoying because it will, yeah, it's going to twist things off center. So let's just do a, oh, I know, I forgot the excellent tip from the excellent Vic, which is marking off on the motor shaft where the 7mm point is. 7mm is right about there. Okay, so if that black line is just going into, like just align with the back of this, then we should be good. It should be in far enough. Okay, doing it for real this time. Squeezy, squeezy, squeezy. Oh, it does not want to go in. I do think I need to ream that hole out. I don't want to put more force on that. I was starting to squeeze it quite hard. I am going to, ideally we want something like a 4.8mm bit, but I don't think I have one of those specifically. So once again, I'm going to leave you with the active screensaver and have a look at my drill bit situation. See what I can find to ream that out with. I could just keep working it with the scalpel, but let's try to be slightly less unscientific about it and find a real drill bit. Ooh, there's a 4.5mm bit. I used to have a 4.8mm bit. I'm just going to bring this stuff in and have a look. I should probably also bring in a drill. That would be a sensible idea, wouldn't it? Back to here. Back to here.
What you want is a reamer set.
Nothing there. Yeah, what I want is a reamer set. That is a 4.5mm bit. So that is possibly going to help, but it may actually, yeah. No, it needs more than 4.5mm. 4.5 is loose. Get that out of the way. What have I got in here? Not that one. So, what am I looking for? I'm looking for, this will be too big, I think. 5.14. What? This may actually be a 4.8mm bit, which would be kind of ideal. Okay, that was this one that I was doing. Let's see if I can ream it out a little bit with this. Oh, it seems to be doing stuff, doing something. Let's try not to cut my fingers at the same time. That would be not part of the plan. Don't want to overdo this either. Of course, what I take away, I can always put back in the form of glue or Loctite. Okay, I'm going to grab a drill to put that in. That way things can go wrong even faster. If there's a way for things to go wrong, you can make them go wrong faster by adding power. Here we go. All right, everybody say goodbye to my fingers. This is the last time that you'll see them attached to my hand. I think it worked. What I don't know though is, has this gone too far?
Computers do that too.
Oh, now it's loose. It just goes on and flops around. Okay, so do I...
It's a bit large.
Yeah, it is a bit large. So do I glue, or... I mean, I've got two more here that are of this color. I want to do them, the colors, I'm going to reprint them in other colors to match the other axes. So, okay, this one is now bored out too large. What I'm going to try is, I'm going to use this on one of the others, but not go all the way in, just ream out the first part of it in order to... So that's just gone in maybe 1 and a bit millimeters.
_creations said, should use heat.
Should use heat? Oh, true. I could heat up the shaft here with the hot air gun and then force it on. That actually, I think, is a clever idea. It's one of those things where, you know, it could go either way. Really clever or really stupid. And I think sometimes the best ideas are both. All right, so I've reamed out just the start of it to help get it started onto the shaft, and then I'll try squeezing it on. Ooh, this might be working.
At Tinker001 said, John, warm up the motor shaft.
Yep, warm up the motor shaft.
Said, it looks like you're not doing it square.
Yeah, I'm not doing it square, definitely not. It's twisting. I'm going to try it like this. Ugh, to straighten it. Nope. Yeah, the whole thing I can twist around like that so far. Yeah, okay. Let's do this. Let's try it. This might be a really, really bad idea. And I hope it doesn't do anything bad. I'm just looking for my infrared thermometer. Where is it? I can't see it. It should be up here on the bench. Normally it is sitting up. Oops, I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing with the hot air gun. Yeah, I've got an infrared thermometer, which I usually have sitting on the shelf just up above my bench because I reach up there to grab it for different purposes.
001 said, Mayor, stand it up, smack it with the hammer.
Yeah. Now, watch me burn myself. Yeah. It is feeling pretty hot now. Okay, this is the one.
Said, yes, I think heating it is a bad idea.
Yeah, but we're doing it anyway. Okay, now let's try. Oh, looking down into it, I can see that it has deformed, it's pushed the plastic a bit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to clean up a little bit inside because there is some loose stuff in there. Heat the shaft a bit more. Yes. It's at the uncomfortably warm temperature, but it's not actually hot. So I'll heat the shaft a little bit more. And
John rules
Now try.
3x in as many minutes.
Yeah. I can ruin them all. I ruin everything. And now I'll try with this clamp. Okay. That is now down at the 7mm mark. You can see the black there. But it is wiggling around a little bit. I am going to have to put more work into this.
Said, because unless you heat it to melt the plastic, which means you won't get it on square, you're just expanding the shaft and making it worse.
That's... Stop being scientific, cable tie. Yeah, I'm going to let this cool down and we'll see if this stabilizes. It may not. There's a little bit of a wobble in it. It is firming up as the shaft cools down. So I'm going to leave this as it is for now, knowing that that is not a perfect job and will probably need revisiting. But I want to do some...
At Cable T said, haha lol thanks.
Yeah, let's get some assembly happening. What am I doing? Okay. Wagonload says, is there a threaded hole in the end of the shaft? Ooh, interesting question. There is a hole. I don't think it's threaded. So we're talking about the end of the stepper shaft. It is just a hole, I believe. I can't see a thread in it. I'm going to chuck it under the microscope so I can look down into it and see if there is a thread in that hole. There is not. It is just a little, it's just like a little hole, and it only goes a few millimeters into the end of the shaft. So we can't clamp onto it that way. Now this part of it, I would kind of be inclined to replace this with some kind of a coupling, like a tube with grub screws, like a machined coupling. Grub screws to engage with the flat of the shaft on the stepper, and a connection for the M3 drive thing at the other side.
001 said, logical thinking from the guy whose username is the most abused item in any toolkit.
Yeah, the most abused item in any toolkit. Yeah, it actually feels firm now. Now that it's cooled down, it's not that bad. But still, okay. We're going to go with it for now. So, we have the captive nuts in there. We have, over here in the big kiddo parts, we have the spacer plates. And we need 2 spacer plates. The order doesn't really matter. As far as I know, it shouldn't matter. So I've got a 4mm and a 5mm spacer plate. So we've got 9mm extra length there that goes onto here to account for the fact that the shaft on this stepper is longer. So when this goes through, it puts that into the correct location. But I do need to rim this edge out because the stepper has to recess into that way. Okay, back to instructions. Oh, I've got stuff all over my bench now. I can barely even get to the yeah, I can barely even get to my computer. Just got stuff piled everywhere. Okay, so rotate the coupling, ensure it's centered on the shaft. Yeah, okay. Done that. Put that through there. Okay, so we need 4 M3 nuts inserted through. So the length that we need is based on the total thickness of that plus the depth needed to go into the motor. So that is 19mm, and then we want a few millimeters into the motor. So ideally something like 25mm, like M3 25mm. Let's see, do I have any? I do. I have a plentiful supply. And M3 washers, I also have a plentiful supply. So these are M3 by 25s, and I need some washers. I'll be selective. I'll use nice looking washers. I'll reject the dodgy looking ones, and I'll keep them all consistent. So M3 through there, and then we can bolt that through there with this. I think that's the right one. Yes, it is. So what I can do is bolt through there, and then it goes through those two, and then into the motor from there. So now, which way does the wire need to come out? According to this, according to the instructions, if this is sitting like that, oops, the cable coming out of the motor comes out to the left, so it goes on like that. Okie dokie. So I'll just bed that down into the hole and do this up, not all the way, but most of the way. Actually, I am going to do it up all the way, and then I'm going to back it off because I just wanted to make sure the bolt wasn't bottoming out in the motor body, and it's not. So that's good. So now I can throw some more in and get the stepper bolted in place. How on earth did I think that with all of my faffing around, was going to get through assembling 3 of these axis drivers on a stream? No chance. I can make any 10-minute job take 10 hours. Okay. 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 And okay. All torqued to tolerance. Very good. Okay, so now we've got the motor mounted, we've got the coupling in place, it rotates, and it looks like it's, I'm going to clamp it down there. It's reasonably centered as I rotate it. Surprisingly, actually, like more than I thought it was going to be. And it feels quite sturdy, so that has worked out better than I thought it was going to. The heating of the shaft turned out to be possibly a good idea in the end. All right, now, what are we doing next? Okay. Exact length of the thing will vary, blah, 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 blah. Rather than shorter than the screws, washers were added. Yep. Okay. So from the nut bars and frame trio, remove supporting material. I've already cleaned up those holes. I didn't actually notice anything inside there. So this is like breakaway support material. Well, it's not a different material, it's the same filament, but there's a little cylinder inside there to support the inside of that nut. I didn't actually see it in there. I don't know what happened with that, like why it didn't print. And they do not hold nuts, okay. Inserting nuts in the lower nut bar. Insert 2M3, press them home with a, oh, okay, yeah, this is where the instructions say to use the screw to install it into the lower nut bar. Nut bar. You know who's a nut bar. Okay, there, let's do that. Okay, remember that picture, and remember that picture. And then remember that picture. And we're going to come back to them. We're going to do it here. Okay, so this, except that I'm not assembling the blue axis this time, I'm assembling the yellow axis so that I can be consistent with the thingy, with the parts I printed. Okay, so that is these. other parts.
Nut bar. Is that where the squirrels get drunk?
Yeah. It's where Tina Turner hangs out. So, I'll just clean this up a little bit. I believe this is the thing called the nut bar. This part here. Or maybe that part. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to check that picture again just to make sure. Oh yeah, this one? Yeah, this one is the one that is called the nut bar. Clean that out. Might as well clean this out while I'm here. While the knife is in my hands. Maximize the opportunity for on-screen chaos and blood. Okay, and then I've got to put nuts into here. Same process as before. Handy M3 bolts. Need some nuts. Need one of those. And I'll grab out another one while I'm here. Oh, come on. I'm going for specific ones. I'm not just grabbing randomly. I'm going for ones that have got the smaller body size. Okay. Insert nut. And insert nut into the nut bar, baby. Okay. Nuts are inserted in nut bar. Now we need nuts into, this bit is going to be slightly scary, into this. See, one there and some under here. And I'm a little bit scared of this because I don't want to damage any of these flexures. Okay, cleanup time. And do I put nuts in all of these or just the end 3? I need to refer back to those pictures again to figure out what's going on.
John is just going nuts tonight.
Yeah, I am. Who said that? Who did a say Q instead of say? Should I start taking guesses? Who would accuse me of going nuts? Who was it? Tinker. Yeah, so I'm going to tippy tap the nuts down into these holes, but I need to do it in a way that is not going to stress the mechanism. And the instructions show you hanging the edge of this over the edge of a bench, and the camera might not be in quite the right place to catch it. We shall see. So, no, it's off camera. Okay, I can do it with something else to try to get it on camera. What about with that? Yeah, that'd work. All right. So what the instructions show is to have the edge of a bench, and then you sit this off the edge like that, so that you can then put the nuts in, and it's against a, it's supported against a solid
John
surface.
John is just going washers today. Derido
Washers?
ergo sum.
Derido ergo sum, is that, does that translate to I insult, therefore I am? Derido ergo sum. Yeah, not cogito ergo sum. Okay, now back to here. And what's this thing? Okay, so, oh, we've got to put in all 5. Yep. Yeah, so this is the picture I was talking about. So it's showing hanging it off the edge of a bench and then putting those in. Press home, and then, yeah, so it says, be careful to avoid stressing. Ooh, that notification was the printer saying that it is finished.
At Tinker001 said,
Yeah.
I mock, therefore am.
I mock, therefore I am. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, mock. Different translation of Dorito. Yeah, My assumption was that the etymology was associated with deride, so, or derision. Yeah, what was it you said? Derido ergo sum. Derido ergo sum. I deride, therefore I am. So where? Okay, so down into there, one into there, top side, and then nuts into there and there. Oh, and then on the other side of those two. Okay. Oh, insert bearing nuts into the nut bars. Okay, so these, interesting, okay. These nuts that you can see here are the ones that need to be drilled out. And, yeah, the drill bit is a reminder that these are drilled out nuts. Very important. Doritos. Okay, where is this? Oh, Wagonload says, can you put the nuts on the top tip of a soldering iron? And Vic says you could, but a slight chance of damage and plastic in the threads. Yeah. I've got, so doing this with heat set nuts I think would be interesting. I have a few different styles of heat set nut. In fact, they're right here. So yeah, there are some, what's this one? These are M3 heat set nuts. Ooh, they're falling out of the bag. These can be inserted with a soldering iron into plastic, and they've got little serrations around the edge so that they grip. When the melted plastic recongeals, they end up held in place. So yeah, I've got a few different styles of those and different sizes. Oh, this is the soldering iron tip that I keep in this box because it specifically suits putting these in. So you can insert these heat set nuts using this soldering iron, and it works really nicely. So yeah, heat set nuts, I like them. But getting them straight can be an issue sometimes. Oh, yeah, you were seeing that. I was just thinking that maybe you were not seeing the view. All right, I am going to very cautiously attempt to insert these nuts into this without breaking the mechanism. Ooh, tension. Actually, not tension, compression. Oh, yeah, that was a very bad mechanics joke.
001 said, heat set nuts awesome, as long as you're not looking for precision.
Yeah, if you just want something that's structural and yeah, and stuff. Okay. Yeah, getting them vertical can be hard. Or should I say, getting them so that they are, that's not particularly straight. That's better. Yeah, getting them so that the body of the nut goes in straight is quite tricky. With heat set nuts, I mean. So yes, ideally you need some kind of a press mechanism that you can use to push them in so that it holds the nut in place and keeps it vertically aligned as it's pushed down into the plastic. So, got to get myself out a couple more nuts. There seem like an awful lot of nuts on this part of the fitting. Yeah, I'm curious about this part of the design, Vic. Like, why are there 5 nuts on this mounting point when it feels like 2 might have been adequate? I mean, I guess you have reasons. I just, yeah, rigidity, something? I don't know. Maybe options for positions. There, okay. I'll do this one over on this side so that it clears the mechanism. And hopefully this bouncing is not stressing the mechanism unduly.
5 because not enough room for 6. Can't have too many nuts when your channel icon is a couple of squirrels.
Yeah, can't have too many nuts. Yeah. Yeah, 5 because there's not enough room for 6. Yep. Yeah. So my worry was damaging these little flexures here, right here, because as I'm doing this, I'm shocking this, and we've got the weight of this mechanism hanging off these flexures. So yeah, it all seems fine. Next is I need to put a nut in there, and then nuts in there and there. So there is a slight cleanup required there. Trying to do this without cutting myself more than necessary. A bit of blood sacrifice is required, I believe, but it should be minimal. Alright, nuts and another nut. Okay, now, what were the instructions showing about inserting this nut? There was something odd about it. Above that. Why is this here? Best on the edge of a bench, use a crossette contains a nut cavity. It's important to select an M3 nut that is free from defects for this purpose. Okay, so this, so we need good nuts in these locations. This is where things are kind of critical. Insert this nut taking care not to damage the thread, i.e. screw a 50mm M3 all the way through the nut for leverage and insert it as fully and evenly as possible. Note that this cavity is particularly tight by design and significant force will be required. Okay, and then take 2 M3 nuts and insert them into the slots indicated above. Place with tweezers, forceps, etc. Tap them smartly home. Alright, hit them again with a little more enthusiasm. Oh, we have so much enthusiasm. We have enthusiasm. Oh, yeah, okay. Gigo Farm says, don't clean that one too much. It's meant to be really tight. Yep. This one here. Okay. So, I need to be a little careful about this. This is going to be tippy tapping a nut into the end of this flexure, and I need to not damage these parts right here. Okay, so insert it fully as fully and evenly as possible. All right, let's see. Let's just check this nut. It seems to this one seems to run very nicely. So I think this nut might be a winner, perhaps. There's a little bit of backlash in it, as in it's slightly loose on the thread. Hopefully that is okay. Right, now, time to watch me destroy this. So, I'm going to align the hexagon with the shape of the cavity. Keep it nice and vertical. Hold that vertical. And tippy tap carefully. And it goes into place. Feels like it's fully bedded down, and just checking orientation, it seems straight in every axis. Hang on, I'm gonna twist it slightly. There's a bit of play in the bolt, but it does seem to be straight in each axis. Okay. Hopefully that nut is all right. Then I have these, which go down into here. And I guess they go pointy side down, so they'll end up with the two sides of the hexagon vertical. And I can push it in with my fingers mostly. And then I'm going to push it down the last bit with the tool. Oh, that one fell in. I don't know if that's bad or not. All right, I'm going to push this in. Yeah, that one is loose. I'll push that one down. I'll grab a smaller hex driver to get into that little slot. Push down, push down. I guess the important thing is that they are aligned in the holes. Oh no, they need to go further in. You probably won't be able to see this, but if I look down the holes, I can see the nuts are not fully down into place. So I'm going to tippy tap this until it beds down. And is it? Ooh, almost. It's very close to aligning with the shaft. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Now this one. And is that aligning? Yeah, I think that's okay. I'm just going to give them a little bit more of a tippy tap to make sure they are fully bottomed out. And yeah, perfect. I can see the threads of the nuts directly in line with those holes now. So I think that's good. All right. Now we're at a stage where I have not yet drilled out the bearing nuts to go in here. So these are M3 nuts that I need to hit with like I need to chuck them in a work vise and put them in the drill press. But I also just noticed time has got away from me. Time. Okay. Excuse me. Fitting loom bands for anti-backlash. And okay, so they go through there.
Jono's head is an alignment tool.
My head is so out of alignment. Don't ever accuse me of having an aligned head. It goes around there. Okay. Now, I'm going to stop. So I'm at the point where the next thing I need to do is drill out these nuts, and fit the loom bands and and proceed from there. So what I'm going to do, now the thing is that if I proceed with this right now, like if I try to continue with this, what is going to happen is I'm going to end up going out, messing around with the drill press. Doing this is going to blow out time. So I'm not going to begin undertaking that process right now.
I didn't say Jono's head is calibrated.
Oh yeah.
Time is an illusion.
Lunchtime doubly so. And if I start this now, I'm going to add another 45 minutes to an hour to the stream. And I'm tired, so I'm not going to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-drill some of these before the next stream. I'll pre-drill enough for all of the axes. And in fact, what I'm going to do is, just to avoid repeating myself, I am going to prepare the other axes up to this same point, which is going to involve printing the couplings in the correct colors, putting all the nuts in, getting everything ready, so that for next time, when we resume, I won't be repeating myself in terms of doing the same actions on the other axes. They will be ready to go, and I'll have the nuts and things and the bands, so the rest of that can be done in the next stream. That goes across there. I'm just pre-looking. Ooh, interesting. So these are like using hemostats for adjusting the locking position. Fastening the lock nut on the drive screw. Yeah, just reading ahead a little bit here. End stops and captive nut holes. Yep, okay, so the end stops go through those little slots in the 3D print. End stops being a pair of bent wires. surely we can do better than that. Some kind of an optical limit, maybe. I don't know. Close as possible, so they're approximately, yeah. I can just see that failing over time. Mounted limit switch. Okay, so that clamps there. Optional tension band booster. Ah, okay, so if the bands aren't quite tight enough, they're a little bit long, this slips in underneath and it stretches the bands more, so it makes them grab more tightly. Raise the drive nut to the maximum elevation. Do that, do that, do that. And manually
At
test the
Austin's
mechanism.
_creations said, Hall effect switch.
Yeah, Gigo Farm says ordinary micro switches had too short a reset. Okay. Yes. Yeah, I can understand why there would be issues with other types of... thinking about ways of mounting things like a tact switch. Like one of the tiny little 2x4mm surface mount tact switches. That could be a good option because they have very small throw. It doesn't take much travel to activate them. And importantly, the release, I think, is one of the critical things, because if you have a switch that activates, say you've got a micro switch and you're pushing it and it goes click and activates, when you back it off, it can take a fair bit of movement before it deactivates. So having a short travel might be worthwhile. Yeah. Time of, yeah, too long a reset. Yeah. Tinker says time of flight sensor. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure Vic has already gone through options and figured out ways to do this, so I'm going to trust his judgment on this. Open air optical wheel, that optical sensor can be used. Yeah, there are probably a bunch of things, but for now, my thinking is I am just going to follow Vic's guidance here and not try to modify this too radically. Yeah, I think what I would probably consider is mounting a little surface mount tact switch, one of the tiny little ones, just here.
How far is DHE3T print?
Oh, it's finished, Henrik. It is finished. Let's bring it up. Have a look. It's down there low in the field of view of the camera. So yeah, so this is the base thing that goes under the structure that other things attach to. I will grab that off the print. But for now, I am going to stop. I am half an hour past my finish time. And I've kept you awake for too long. Oh, the wire thingy? The wire thingy is a limit switch. So, Wagon Loads asks, what does this gizmo do, is the question. There are several, yeah, we can answer that in the micro. This is a limit switch. In the slightly less micro, this whole structure is where is it? If I go right to the top, it should show it. That is one of the axis drivers for the RepRapMicron. And zooming out even further, the RepRapMicron is a 3D printer for making micron scale stuff. So, hopefully that answered the question. Yeah, so I'm going to stop there because just cause. That's the only reason. No other reason than that, just cause. And because I said just cause, that is an obscure podcast reference for you. I bet people won't get that one. Although it is a very popular podcast, I just bet people won't get it. Okay. Because Chuck said it's time to end, we are going to end.
Enough of the fairy variety.
Is it for making shoes for ladybugs? You could use it for that. I do believe that would be a valid use case for the RepRapMicron. You could 3D print micron scale shoes for ladybugs. Okay, thank you everybody for coming along to my very, very slow motion assembly. My original goal had been that I would do all of the assembly on stream. It is very evident that I would be doing this all year if that was the case. So what I'm going to do is, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to pre-assemble the other Axis drivers and finish one of them on stream. Just the last step with the bearing nuts and the drive shaft and the loom bands and that sort of thing, so that you can see the process, but you don't have to see me go through it 3 times. And that means that next week we should be in a pretty good place, I hope. So, thanks for coming along, and go and have an awesome weekend. And how do I do this? I've got to activate, or I've got to switch to that scene, and then I'll figure it out. Okay, I'm going to try to end the stream now. Try. Thank you. See ya.